Welcome to the Manders Mindset podcast. Here you'll find both monologue and interviews of entrepreneurs, coaches, healers, and a variety of other people, where your host Amanda Russo will discuss her own mindset and perspective and her guest mindset and perspective on the world around us. Manders and her guests will help explain to you how shifting your mindset will shift your life.
Welcome back to Manders Mindset. I'm your host, Amanda Russo, and I am here today with PK. Thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you for having me.
So who would you say PK is at the core?
Good question. And a big ask that. PK at the core is a family person, married with a beautiful family, but I also have a very special journey, which I've embarked on since the day I was born. So I've got two siblings with profound learning disabilities and special needs, both older than me. So PK at the core is a summation of all of that. The parents and lots of friends, really good, quirky friends that keep me accountable, but at the same time, two siblings who keep me very much grounded and really in touch with human nature, prosperity, but also compassion and love of human beings.
Can you take us down memory lane a little bit? Tell us about your childhood, upbringing, however deep you want to take that.
I don't know whether I can remember that far. It feels so long ago. So childhood for me was interesting, very culturally driven. My parents, all from a South Indian culture, and raised within that. Born and raised here in the UK, but also learning a mixture of things. So on one side, it's learning to be in school, trying to get the grades that every parent wants us to get. The straight A's, which I was never a straight A student, even though I tried to get to it. But also dealing with what it's like to be an Asian within the UK, but also more importantly, what it's like to have siblings who've got special needs, who are nonverbal, who are very different to the social constructs of the people I would go to school with or the people that I would see on the street. So that's pretty much what it was like. And there were a lot of highs. There are equally, if not also, a lot of lows. Purely because I was trying to understand the world that I'm in, where I fit, where is my place, who am I and who am I trying to be? We all have goals and aspirations as we grow up. But this is a part of me that has never changed, but has also grown up. They've got older. Their needs have become a bit more complex as they've got older. But then so have the needs of my parents, who are also getting older. So it's really looking at that transition of humanity from the little blob that I was born all the way up to the 40-something person that I am now, who's got my own career, happily married, but also balancing being happily married with a career, but also balancing being a full-time carer for my siblings and supporting my parents as they get older, because they can't take the full strains of being a carer themselves. They've been doing it for 50 plus years. So it naturally has an impact. And I think my human compassion, cultural impact, but also the people that I'm surrounded by has helped me maintain the level-headed groundedness that I seem to pursue.
Now, you mentioned growing up in the UK. Have you been in the UK your whole life?
Yes, I have.
And now, about how long have you been the caregiver for your siblings?
I would say from day one would probably be the easiest answer, but we all know that's unrealistic. An infant newborn is never going to be a caregiver. So I guess for me, the reality of it or the severity of it really dawned on me from when I was around 5 or 6, that this is something I potentially am going to have to do. But for me, it's been normal because I've known it ever since day one. So for me, it was like, I'm doing it. Why aren't you doing it? When I'm talking to people in school, and they're like, well, we don't have that situation.
So you recognized this at a pretty young age.
Yeah, pretty much. And I've seen a lot of things from a very young age, which now I look back at, think, wow, how did I deal with it as a young child? But also looking at it from an adult's perspective and think, how did my parents deal with me reacting the way I did, however I did, but also staying calm, level-headed to maintain normality for my siblings? It's definitely been an interesting journey.
Wow. Now, did anything help you when you were younger to be able to do this?
No. The only thing that helped me, if I'm being very honest, was feel free, just get up, get on with it, take it on the chin, just get on with it. But it was more, as I was stating, I was going to college, seeing other people, interacting with people, developing friends, take friends in college and university, not even in high school, where I really started discovering who I am for me, not just who I am for my siblings, for my parents. So that's really where PK became who is PK, rather than PK is a carer and all.
So what did you discover? And when you went down the journey of who is PK?
Firstly, I can't dance to say anything. My wife and my friends keep it, you can't. But what everyone has always told me, and I've kind of discovered it a lot, is that the level of empathy, compassion I have for other human beings, no matter what they're going through, who they are, what they are, is empathy and compassion will always overrule everything. That I have a massive heart. And more importantly, I love to travel and do very random long trips in short period of time. Going to Singapore for a weekend or coming to the States for the weekend. I've known around my friend circle to just do it because they know I love to travel. But for me, traveling or being on a flight is my way of switching off for those few hours to be able to give myself some respite, to recover, to recoup from the everyday rigors of being a carer and as well as a working professional. But also I get to see different countries. I get to meet the wider family and friends, more important.
Now, you said you went to college. What'd you go to school for?
Good question. I see it was to meet people, but I went to study electronic engineering, which was my major. I flunked my first college because of the strains of commuting. So I moved back home and then I went to a college nearby and graduated with electronic engineering.
And now do you use engineering?
Not at all. I now work within logistics and supply chain, which I'm a master's degree holder in. So in a way, it kind of worked out. But the engineering was always the initial passion. I've always loved to know how things have worked. And in a way, there's a lot of transferable skills into logistics and supply chain.
When you graduated with your engineering degree, did you go on for your master's right away? Or
No, I saw the bill of how much I had to owe. College is expensive here in the UK as well. So let me pay off some of that and save up enough money to then do my master's. Which my master's I completed about 3 years ago.
And now about
So a sizable break, and then I went back into it.
About how long before you went back for your master's?
10 years?
And what made you just
Go for it.
What made you decide you wanted to get your master's in that subject?
Logistics and supply chain has always been something that's interested me. I live very close to Heathrow Airport, so I'm surrounded by aircrafts pretty much all the time. I live directly under the flight path. And it's something that I've always enjoyed. I enjoy traveling. I enjoy the thought of being able to hand over a package and it gets delivered to wherever it needs to be delivered within a set period of time. So that's always fascinated me. And I've been able and thankful enough to work with some very well-known brands nationally as well as internationally.
I gotcha. It seems different to me than engineering.
Yes and no. From the outside, yes, but your attention to detail is there. Your understanding of how the mechanics of a machine works or a process works is there for both engineering as well as logistics and supply chain. Because it's only by understanding how every step of the supply chain works can you improve it, can you cut down costs, or can you factor in where additional costs are likely to be, which is usually around the customs border when it's passing between two countries.
I get that makes sense. Now, you had mentioned you flunked out of the first college because you had a hard time commuting.
Yeah.
Now, were you commuting because you were living at home taking care of your siblings?
No, but so when I had the chance to go to college, I chose a college which was close enough to home, but also far enough where I could discover who I am or where I fit within the whole social constructs. But also, they're having fun. They're enjoying college life. I want a bit of that because it was my way of trying to normalize what I do, but also have the experiences of everyone else. I could have very easily stayed at home and commuted to the one close by, but it was more of, let me try and see if my wings actually work. So go to college, learn how to cook very badly, but I got through it. But also, if it wasn't for that experience, I wouldn't have met some of my absolute diehard buddies and friends who I'm still in touch with even now. Probably more so than the second college I went to.
So did you like the first one better than your second one?
In terms of the people I met, yes. Because the second one, I think, for me, they were a little younger. Obviously, the time difference a couple of years later, the mindset was different. But also in my first one, I could be free. I was learning my wings, blacking them, trying different things. We were all trying different things, and we were all in a similar stage of life. Just gone to university. Some people internationally have come in. So everything was just right. It was just that very early on in my first year, I had to stop and move back home because of an incident at home. So therefore, I had to commute thereafter rather than actually living at college or near college, which was over an hour and a half away, which in the UK is a big deal.
That even in the US, an hour and a half is kind of far.
Yeah, it's kind of far. I mean, there's lots of transportation links that go up and back. But how do I put it? When I was in college, my head was at home. When I was at home, my head was at college. So it was hard to find that balance. And it worked for the first 2 years. But in my final year, I flunked. And that was a decided year. Because of the exhaustion, I couldn't dedicate as much time into it. A lot of other things had come up. And I just had to pull up and say, look, it's not working. But I was always resolute enough to say, I will get a college degree, a bachelor's degree, which I did. It took me a little longer, thankfully with the support of my friends from the first college. And then I went on to get my master's and also my MBA recently.
Oh, you got your MBA.
I did.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
How was that transition for you, going from being at the college, going to school, to shifting that?
In what way?
Mentally, emotionally?
I think the first time around, mentally, I wasn't in the right state to be in college. I felt I was because it was a natural progression. After high school and everything else, it felt like the natural progression because everyone else is doing it, so I have to do it. Which worked. It seemed to have worked for the first couple of years, and then the final year, I flunked. It didn't work. But as I was getting closer and closer to my final year, the pressures increased. The attention to my work had to be that bit more which I couldn't dedicate to it because I was needed at home. But when I say needed at home, that's self-inflicted. I wanted to be at home to it in order to help support my parents and my siblings. So mentally, it did take a toll. It came down to a point where two of my dearest friends, who I'm still in touch with, had to pull me aside one day as like an intervention and say, look, enough is enough. We've been hearing rumors, common friends, what's going on? Up until then, I never told them. No one ever knew. It was because I flunked my final year that the story of what I deal with started to come out. Until then, I had not stepped away from it or hid from it. I didn't want that to be the catalyst for why people knew me. I wanted the experience to solely be based on me being me and nothing else.
Now, when it came out, were you the one to tell your friends?
No. They came to me and said, look, we know there's more to this. Enough is enough. Because at that time, it was, again, denial. I was like, no, I'm fine. Well, actually, you're not. And it was, I remember the day very vividly. About 6 friends of mine sitting in the common room. They've locked all the doors. They've locked me in. And they were like, right, sit. What's going on? Like a birthday surprise. They're like, sit, we need to talk. And it came out, and I broke down in tears, and I was like, this is what it is. They're like, yeah, but we're your friends. You could have told us straight. But unless you're going through it, it's easier said than done. I should have, yes. Now I can. 25 odd years on. But then it was a story which I kept very hidden from the outside world. Even during my high school, my junior high. I was never going to share it anytime soon. But again, that's part of the learning and discovery of you can be who you are. But sometimes you just have to be openly authentic and say, hey, this is how it is. This is what I deal with. It's not good. It's not bad. It's not indifferent. It just is what it is. So there's a lot of fear about coming out and actually saying that I'm a carer, and I'm a carer to 2 of my siblings, not just an individual, because usually it's a parent or it's a family member. But here it's 2 of them. One of them is my twin, which made it a little bit more complex as well, because a lot more of the medical questions are going to start coming up. Well, what happens in this scenario? What did you do here? Which I wasn't ready to deal with at the time. But I'm thankful it happened, because now I can have conversations like we're having and say, hey, it is what it is. This is what I deal with. You don't like it? I can't do anything about it. But if you're ever in a similar position, or you know anyone it is, send them my way, and we'll see whether I can lend a supporting ear.
Now, how did you feel when your friends had this conversation with you, if you remember?
Oh, I remember. Almost to the point of what I was wearing. Is how clear it was. I know where it was. For me at the time, it was major embarrassment, ashamed, fear, definitely upset. But it was more ashamed that I've let it get to that, but also that in a way I've been caught, because I thought it was working, and I only had another couple of months and I'll be out of it. It'll be all good. But the universe conspires against us sometimes just to keep us in line with who we're truly meant to be, not what we're trying to be.
Can you elaborate on what you mean?
Yeah, sure. I mean, you go on social media now, and as much as I use it, I'm not going to deny it. We try and dress a certain way because of a celebrity or an influencer, or we try and follow a certain path because we feel they're getting all the accolades or the appraisals. But sometimes it's not about that. Sometimes it's, hey, this is why I was put on this planet. And this is who I am. This is me. So you either like it or you don't. If you like it and it gets you accolades, great. If you get rewarded for it, even better. If you get paid top buck for it, great. But at least you're connected to who you're actually meant to be for you. You're not trying to take on a persona of someone else. I'm not even 6 foot. I'm not far off it, but I'm not 6 foot. But I can't claim I'm the same height as a friend who's 6'2", 6'3". And he's a tall guy. He's naturally tall, doesn't go to the gym, but he's the epitome of what a bloke should be. Or you would think as a kid, and you're like, wow, you're a big guy. But he's a vegetarian and vegan. And you're like, okay, that doesn't make sense. Where does all that correlate? And that's where the beauty of it is. What we perceive to be true doesn't actually have to be true, because the world has a way of showing up in so many different forms, and everyone is equally as unique, equally as beautiful just to be themselves. And that's what I realized by the circle of friends. That, you know what, even after everything that I had put them through, they're still standing by me 20 plus years on. And I'm so grateful for that.
I'm curious how things shifted for you after this conversation. In the midst of it, you were ashamed, but post it. How did your relationship with yourself and your relationship with these friends change?
So with them, it gave a different perspective. They could see the real me, the vulnerable side, the scared side of me. I didn't know how to deal with what I'm dealing with at home, but also trying to fit into this construct of society and everyday social interaction. It was great because I compartmentalized. I was like, I'm at home, I work this way, or I'm at school, or I'm in college, or I'm at work. I'm now a different person. So by having that intervention, it allowed me to combine both of them together and say, look, regardless of whether I'm at home or I'm at work, this is who I am. This is me. You either like it or you don't. If you don't like it, it's okay. There's nothing wrong in it. But I still need to continue being who I'm being. And then for myself, it gave me that voice I've always been looking for, to just open up, scream and shout and say, look, this is what I deal with every day. There's no good, there's no bad. Everyone deals with different things. Some people have got family members who've got different ailments, or friends who've got different ailments that we're trying to deal with. So for me, it was really trying to discover my being within society, but also discovering my voice of who I'm meant to be for me before being for everyone else.
Who you're meant to be for you before everyone else.
If you can't take care of yourself, you can't take care of anyone else, right?
Now,
unless you're married, and then you have to take care of your wife, my wife first, and then before everyone else.
Now, did you realize this, like taking care of yourself before taking care of other people before this conversation?
No, it was always take care of everyone else first. Take care of everyone else first. I always put myself last, and I still do to an extent. It's just now I'm more mindful about it, that I factor in some me time every day, be it going for a walk or going to the gym, or just spending some time listening to a podcast such as yours, and just being able to just be having that 10, 15 minutes for me to also watch random TV programs, Tom and Jerry, Friends, whatever it may be that may be on TV. And then say, okay, I'm done for me for now. Now let's tackle the day. We'll tackle the situation.
That's a big thing. I think, like you mentioned, even if it's 10 to 15 minutes, like whether you have kids, whether you have a family, no matter what somebody's life looks like and who or what they're taking care of, you only show up so well if you give back to yourself, even a little bit, even if it's not a full hour, even if it's 30 minutes, 2% of a day.
Exactly.
So that's a small amount,
But it's a small amount to help recharge you and keep you in line so you can better deal with everything else you may need to deal with throughout the day.
That's really great that these friends of yours had this conversation with you.
And they still do even now. They're like, how's mom, how's dad, how's the family? What are you up to? It's a normal conversation that I guess any friend would have. And I've known them for that long. They're part of the family now. That's how close we've become. But it could have very easily gone the opposite way.
That's true. Now, I'm curious, do you tap into any sort of like mindfulness practices to help yourself remain calm, whether it's meditating, yoga, breath work?
Breath work from time to time, yoga every so often. But what I find is I love to travel. I love to literally get onto a flight, switch off my phone, switch off the electronics. I'm one of those passengers. Before the flight pushes back, I'm knocked out. You're not waking me up. I'm literally KO'd. I wake up for a few minutes, usually when food's being served, and fall back to sleep. That's the type of passenger that I am. So for me, it's traveling. We have a lot of family around the world, not so much within the UK. So being able to go and see them is my respite. But also being able to go see the world, see different experiences, try different foods, come back and very badly try and recreate the food when I get back. But hey, trying, I'm getting there.
Have you always been into traveling?
Yeah. I'm the crazy one that'll easily do a 13-hour flight just for a weekend.
For a weekend?
Yeah, so let me put it into context. I think it was in context. I took a long weekend break to Singapore, which is like going from London to LA and back. Go on a Friday, come back on a Sunday night.
But that doesn't give you a lot of time.
But it gives me a lot of time to sleep and to switch off and rest. But also I knew I'm coming there and my buddies in LA and San Francisco are going to make sure that I'm completely legless before I get back on the flight. Just enough so I can walk to the flight. And then the altitude will irritate my hangover and give me a sore head. But that's why they're buddies and we're still in touch. But for me, it was about getting away from here. It was getting a break, getting on a flight, but also having these conversations and say, hey, I went to LA for a weekend or I went to Singapore for a weekend.
I get what you mean about like shutting off on the plane, you know? It almost forces you, even if you don't sleep, to disconnect. The airplane mode.
Absolutely.
I've done a lot of traveling this summer myself, and I went to Bali, and that was 2 long flights. And I gotta say, I really enjoyed even like running my own business. Everybody knows she's on a flight to Bali. We're not going to hear back from her. It's a nice feeling.
And Bali is a beautiful place. I was there this summer as well.
Really? What did you go to Bali for? I
went for my cousin's wedding, but also I did a sunrise trek.
Wow.
So I walked out Mount Pakut, did the early mornings, and we saw sunrise as the sun was coming up. We did Ubud, we did all of that.
Nice.
I took my wife on that because there was no way she was going to sanction me going alone without me taking her. Like, I'm coming with you. Yes, dear.
Good. You should have taken her.
Absolutely.
You went to your cousin's wedding. She should have gotten to go.
Absolutely. Usually summertime is when she goes and sees her parents in New York. But she was like, you're going to Bali? I'm coming with you. Okay.
Oh my gosh.
But no, we had a really nice time.
Was it your first time going to Bali?
To Bali, yes. But I took her to Singapore on the way there. So she got to meet family and friends. And she sees why I'm so insane about traveling.
I love that. When did you first start traveling? About?
Traveling's been in my blood since I can remember, about 5. My father used to work for one of the airlines. So we always used to have trips to India to see family. And I think that's where the real love of traveling grew and started. I'm lucky to have family pretty much all over the world. In, I think, every single continent is covered. So that's added to the experiences and loves and culture. So when you meet people from those sort of areas, you're like, I've been there. And then it breaks the ice. It's a nice icebreaker. And then you just carry on the conversation.
Is there anything that helps you sleep during these flights? These long flights?
I don't need to take anything. I literally just sit, hands crossed, head back, I'm out. That's it. I just start staring when I can smell food. Typical clothes. I'm like, oh, food. Great. Eat. Straight back to sleep.
I get that. And now it's traveling that has helped you more so with the mental health than anything else.
Traveling and also music. Different genres of music. Something's always playing. Similar to how in the gym you'd have a lot of upbeat, really punchy stuff. For me, traveling is a bit of both. So a little upbeat, a little chilled, zone vibe. Really depending on what stage I am in the travel process.
Was there a certain type of music?
Not really. I think it really depends on the phase that I'm going through. I recently went through a heavy metal phase, which all my friends completely laugh at because they can't associate PK and heavy metal. They can associate PK with like chilled out, trance, garage, R&B, that sort of thing. But they're like heavy metal, yeah, it doesn't quite sync. But yeah, there are some good songs. There's no way I'd be where I am now if it wasn't for those two. And my wife.
I'm curious. Did you travel during the pandemic?
No. That was a bummer. But I also realized very early on that the health, safety, and well-being of my family was more important. But the minute the skies opened, you can believe I was on that next flight. I did not care how much it cost. I was on a plane to say, cobwebs have gone. I'm on a plane again. Let's go.
How was that? Like not traveling when you had gotten so used to it?
It was okay initially, but it was frustrating because so many things changed for so many people during the pandemic. There was the concern of other family members. So can I quickly get to see them in case I don't get to see them again, especially the seniors within the family. And thankfully, we didn't lose anyone. We were very lucky that way. But the minute the skies opened, the entire family were pretty much all over the world going to catch up with everyone and get some really good food and someone else cooking for you for a change. Yeah, I like to be pampered.
I'm curious, during the time of the pandemic, were you living close by your family?
Yeah, so that's one thing I've always maintained, being close by to my parents and to my siblings. So in case I'm needed, in case anything comes up, I'm always maybe 10 to 15 minutes tops away.
Mm-hmm.
That's always been a non-negotiable for me. Because as my parents have taken care of us growing up as kids and providing a life full of opportunities, which hopefully we're living into, it's also a time for us to give back to help support them as they're getting older and they're dealing with new things that's coming up for them. And the rise of technology, AI, all of that is a prime example.
That's true. So have you been assisting your parents in terms of with like technology and stuff like that?
Yeah, I've got my parents into using WhatsApp, using mom's on Facebook all the time, sending me videos. I'm like, you don't need to check every video, which is cute. I mean, sometimes it's nice. Other times you're like, where have you found this? Oh, I saw it on Facebook. I was like, please, just ignore it. I've got them into YouTube as well, where they're learning a lot and seeing a lot of different things. But also they're connecting with memories from their childhood where they're finding videos on YouTube. So that's helped. Also getting dad especially used to emails and the internet. So now he's able to communicate with friends, cousins, family over emails, WhatsApp, and also forward, not so much him, more mum, forwarding random memes and videos on. There's no purpose for this. Why are you saying? Especially the random dog videos. I'm like, please. But I think between my mum and my wife, they're ganging up on me, just bombard my phone with WhatsApp pictures of dogs and videos. I'm like, I love dogs, but not that much.
That's great that you've been able to be such a resource for them.
Yeah, I've discovered a lot of videos on YouTube where these are like childhood songs, not necessarily had a video associated with it. I'm like, okay, I remember this. And then start playing it and then brings back a lot of nostalgia from being a kid, but also being a teenager at different stages in life. So that's been really cool.
Now, I want to transition a tad. In the form you had mentioned, through tough times, magic will emerge.
Yep.
Can you elaborate on that?
Prime example, about 8 years ago, nearly 9 years ago, I had to undergo open heart surgery very unexpectedly. So you can imagine the complications that go with it, but also the impact it has on home. I'm not at home. I can't be at home for health reasons. So I was in the hospital. My mom told me before I went to the operating theater, I came out. I was under heavy sedation for at least 10 days before I started putting pieces together and having those conversations. Hospital food isn't the greatest, but thankfully mom was bringing me the magic recipe of food. Thankfully, she's an ex-medic as well. So she knew what I can get away with and what I can't. But it's really through that looking at the wider network where I always used to say, no, I will do it. I will do it. Me. I'm the only one to help or support. You then start seeing a lot of other people stepping up and saying, look, Prakash, we've got it. We've got you. Some of them were actually college friends who were there during the intervention many years earlier. So it was heartwarming. It was nice to see. Some of them did drive quite a distance for about 3-4 hours each way just to see me. And then within that, seeing the unwavering resilience of people like my wife and some of my close friends who would daily travel to work in central London, and from London, an hour and a half up to the hospital to see me for visiting hours, and then travel all the way back home, getting home by about 10:30, 11 at night, to then eat, sleep, get up and do it all over again. So that's where the real magic is, where you can see that you're not on your own. You built up a good enough network of people. And also the family also showed why we are such a tight, close-knit family, that we help support and stick by each other. And family doesn't have to be just by blood relation. A lot of friends showed their worth, that it wasn't always me running to their beck and call and being a supportive friend, but it was also their way of giving back and saying, look, you've done it for us. Now we're doing it for you. And this transitioned even when I came back home, when I had to be isolated in a room for 6 months. It was also then they were coming up to the room because it's a glass door, having the conversation through a door. So I was isolated to reduce any cross-contamination, any risk of infection. So that was tough, being bedridden for about 3 months because of the severity of the surgery. Any chance of infection was reduced completely. And having a mother who's a medic, who went into military mode, yes, no, did help. But it's those tough times mixed with everything that I've gone through previously that have just allowed me to maintain having an open heart and compassion for humanity and say, look, it's okay to be going through a tough time. I've been through my own one. This is my story, but you're not alone. We're here to help and support you, regardless of who you are. You may be a stranger. Doesn't matter. We all have good days, bad days, indifferent days. This really depends on the individual. and the support network, especially around them, that helps them transition through what they're going through.
Wow. That's so beautiful that you had that support come through.
Some of them were very unexpected. Some people I never expected to see suddenly turned up. But how did you know I was here? Come on. You've always done it for us, and we suddenly don't hear from you for a few weeks. We knew something.
I agree that through the tough times, magic will emerge. Even like you mentioned, sometimes it's people you don't expect, but we all have people in our corner that will step up to the plate during the tough times.
Yeah. And those people will just suddenly show themselves when they're meant to show themselves. Kind of like planets are aligning. When they're meant to align, magic will happen. You will see it. But if you're going to constantly force them to align, it's never going to happen. So sometimes you just got to go with the flow. Take the punches with the punches. And just say, look, if it's meant to be, it will be. The well-used word in Hindi called kismet. What will be, will be. Sometimes just let it be. Que sera, sera. Whatever will be, will be. And just literally stay true to your own purpose. And the beings that are meant to align with you will show themselves when they're meant to align. It's a lesson learned.
I agree with that. What will be, will be. Now, I'm curious. A lot of people in life have experienced multiple of these, but I tend to ask my guests what their biggest aha moment was that they've experienced.
Oh, good question. I never really know how to answer these, but I think for me, I don't need to control everything. I can still get the same outcome by not trying to do everything. By leaning onto the community, the people around me, my support network, in order to get things done, and vice versa. Whereas before, people would reach out and say, hey, I'll help you. I'm like, no, it's fine, I've got it. But actually what I was doing is overburdening myself by putting more pressure on myself to get things done, to be at a certain place. Here I can turn around and say, no, it's fine, I'm not coming, or I will come later. Or if friends are passing the grocery store, they'll sometimes call and say, you know what, we're just picking this up, we'll drop it off with your parents, and you can pick it up later. Because we know you need it. And I'm like, okay, great. And then we'll repay the favor however we need it. So I think for me, the biggest aha moment was it's okay to not be okay. If I can summarize it, that's probably the best way I would say it. It really is okay to not be okay. And there's no shame and there's no fear in just saying, look, hey guys, I'm having a bad day, or I'm just being very quiet today. Why? Because I've got a lot going on. Here's what it is. You're the only one who's dealing with it. So why internalize it? Share it. And if you share it with the right people, the right vibes will come back, which will help you get through whatever you're getting and need to get through. And that could be a kick up the butt, or it could be just a big hug. It could be anything. It could just be a smile and says, look, Prakash, you've got this. We've got faith in you. And it may be a simple comment like that.
I'm sure it was a bunch of things that led you to this aha. It probably wasn't just like one moment.
Yeah, I think it's just all the various different things that I've gone through, the moments that I've had, people that I've met, people that have come into my life, have gone out of my life, family members who unfortunately are no longer here. I think being brought up in a very humble beginning, being very grounded, both my parents, my culture, and community have also helped with that, but also my friends. Having such a wide demographic of friends from different cultures, communities, have all helped in aligning, because the statement, it's okay to not be okay, is something that transcends with everyone, no matter your culture, your community, your background, what you've gone through. We say it to infants, we say it to adults. It is okay to not be okay. We all have really great days, we have average days, we have really bad days. not necessarily in that order, but we all have it, but we all come through it. So it is okay to not be okay, but trust yourself in order to allow the process to unravel itself as it's naturally meant to be, as the planets are meant to align themselves. You allow yourself through the journey as you're meant to go through.
That makes so much sense, and I completely agree. It's okay to not be okay.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much for speaking with me. I really appreciate it.
Thank you for having me. It's been amazing.
Have you heard of a man named Jay Shetty?
I have indeed. I have a friend who's one of his coaches. He's either his coach. I never really understand his job role, but he's part of, I think, the coaching body that helps create more coaches.
Yeah, he does have a life coaching certification.
Correct. So I think he's part of that training team who creates other life coaches.
So he's also got a podcast called On Purpose, and he ends his podcast with 2 segments. And I've stolen those 2 segments, and I end my podcast with those 2 segments.
You borrowed it.
I should probably be saying that. I borrowed them, and I give him credit because they're not my question.
Credit where credit's due, absolutely.
Yes. So the first segment is the many sides to us, and there's 5 questions, and they need to be answered in 1 word each.
I hate this. Okay. I had a feeling this was coming. I'm like, no. The beginning you said Jay Shetty, I was like, oh, please no, please no, please no. Okay, bring it up. It's okay to not be okay. Bring it up.
There's no wrong answer. It's the best part of this.
Exactly.
You can't get it wrong. It's not a test. It's not multiple choice.
Exactly.
What is 1 word someone who was meeting you for the first time would use to describe you as?
Compassionate.
What is 1 word that someone who knows you extremely well would use to describe you as?
Caring.
I like how you used a different word. What is 1 word you'd use to describe yourself?
Okay, I've got to pick a different word now. Unique.
What is 1 word that if someone didn't like you or agree with your mindset would use to describe you as?
Stubborn.
What is 1 word you're trying to embody right now?
Tough question. Self-love. It's not really 1 word. It's kind of 1 word.
You could hyphenate it.
Yeah. Okay, now you tell me at the end. That's in the fine print, all right? Okay, I got it.
Second segment is the final 5. These can be answered in a sentence. What is the best advice you've heard or received?
It's okay to not be okay.
Why is that the best?
Because that literally can be connected with every situation that happens in life. It's just our building blocks that we've got to deal with situation is what stops us from really looking at it, but also being compassionate to ourselves, because we are the ones who are dealing with it. We can react a certain way. We can scream, shout, and laugh for other people to do the same thing, but how anything lands with them is how it lands with them. We can only control what we can control. So for me, it's okay to not be okay. And I've proven that with the open heart surgery, the various stories in college and growing up, and the things that, for whatever reason, I've been able to achieve, which other people would never have thought imaginable, especially as a carer. And I shared it with other carers in various communities that I'm part of around the world. No, like, that's impossible. You can't do that. And when it does become possible, they're like, but you're a carer. Yeah. So that's just the word. Anything really is possible. But I think if you go into it with that compassion and that real resilience to say, look, it's okay to not be okay, because I'm not forgetting who I'm being. I'm just taking who I'm being to another platform, another level.
What is the worst advice you've heard or received?
Don't not do something unless you've tried it. Within reason, obviously. But I think for me, it's try it. You never know what you're going to be good at, what you may gravitate towards. But also be compassionate and loving to yourself, because we are our own worst and biggest critics in life, more than anyone else will ever be.
That's true. What is something that you used to value that you no longer value?
The opinions of others outside of myself.
If you could describe what you would want your legacy to be, as if someone was reading it, what would you want it to say?
Loyal, compassionate, free spirit. Loves bringing and connecting the world together.
I like that. If you could create one law in the world that everyone had to follow, what would it be? And I want to know why.
I knew that was coming. Law and law. Take some time out to be compassionate for yourself. Take some time out to connect with yourself and really connect. Go through all those phases of from laughter to crying to bawling your eyes out. Because when you really bawl your eyes out, that's when you really start connecting with who you are. Because that's when you're really being authentic to who you're being. I've done it. I've done it post-surgery. I've done it multiple times as a kid over the last few years. The more I do it, the more I'm connecting to who I'm being, who I'm meant to be for myself, but also for the people around me and society. That is connected to me. And then laugh at the end of it. Yeah. Tap yourself on the back and go crazy again.
Why would that be the law?
Because, hey, we've all got to enjoy life, even though you're going to have ups and downs. We've also got to know how to bring ourselves out of the downs, not to say, yep, I'm good. At that point, I've connected with myself. Now let's get on and start enjoying and creating, which is out of the creating that we can enjoy the next phase of our life. If we're not creating, we're not doing anything.
I agree. Well, thank you so much for speaking with me. I really appreciate it.
Thank you for having me. It's been a pleasure and an honor.
Absolutely. And I do just like to give it back to the guest. Any final words of wisdom you want to share? No pressure if you got nothing to say.
There's always something to say, which I never used to be that way. A lot of friends have said, you've always got the last word now. I was like, yeah, until I got married. And now my wife, and rightly so, has that. But no, it's on the back of a YouTube video I created a few years ago, thanks to some buddies of mine, that this is my story. This is me. And it really is okay to not be okay. If I've gone through what I have, I'm sure there's other people in the world with their own struggles, their own limitations, for whatever reason. And there's nothing wrong in it. It's probably a phase or a stage in life that they're going through. I think we spend so much time hiding behind social media or trying to be someone or trying to be the next gym rat or have big biceps or the right car or money. And like, yeah, that's great. This is the byproduct. But who's at the root of all of that? The individual, me. And we're all going to have good days, average days, and bad days. And it's okay. Because for every bad day, there's a good day. And for every good day, there's an average day. They may not come in that order, but they will come. But just trust within yourself, connect with yourself, and really be your biggest self cheerleader. Because if we're not cheering for ourselves, we can't cheer for anyone else authentically.
I agree with all of that. Thank you so much, Prakash. I really appreciate this.
Thank you for having me. It's been a pleasure to finally get on. I listened to many of your episodes. Definitely not going to listen to this because I hate the sound of my own voice, but you never know.
Oh my gosh. Well, thank you. I really appreciate that. And where is the best place for listeners to connect with you?
The best place would either be on Instagram or through our website, which is officialthisisme.com.
And what is your Instagram for anybody?
Official.thisisme.
I will link both of those in the show notes in case anyone wants to connect with you further. And thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
And thank you guys for tuning in to another episode of Manders Mindset. In case no one told you today, I'm proud of you. I'm rooting for you. And you got this. As always, if you enjoyed the show, I would really appreciate it if you would leave me a 5-star rating, leave a review, and share it with anyone you think would benefit from this. And don't forget, you are only one mindset shift away from shifting your life. Thanks, guys. Until next time.